Welcome to the YPO Leadership podcast. I am Diana Daniels, YPO Greater Europe, working in telecommunications, digital and financial inclusion. And in today's episode, we're going to be exploring one of the most critical topics that leaders today are facing. And this is how not just to survive, but thrive in uncertainty. In this world where the energy of the unknown, is going crazy, the unknown shouldn't be a choice and especially if it's only out of necessity. So leaders, I believe that this skill is getting crucial to grow, to make it happen. And to help us navigate this topic, we're joined by someone who is uniquely equipped to share her expertise. She is Dr. Rebecca Homkes. Rebecca, she's a high growth study specialist and advisor to CEOs and executives across the globe. She lectures at the prestigious London Business School, and she's also faculty at the Duke Corporate Executive Education. And not only she is a recognized thought leader, but she's also a global keynote speaker and serves on boards of several growth companies. So I want to thank you, Rebecca, for being with us. You just wrote a book, which I will love us to talk about it. So welcome for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Diana. It's my pleasure to be here.
So in your book, Embracing Change to Thrive Through Uncertainty, you talk about viewing uncertainty as a more than just a challenge, but actually the amazing opportunity to growth. And what I would like you to give us is that reflection on why navigating uncertainty is super crucial, and especially in today's business.
Yeah, absolutely, Diana. What I found about the word uncertainty is this. Whenever, as leaders and CEOs, we talk to each other about uncertainty, we tend to put a word before it that means it's going to be bad. We ask each other, how are you managing uncertainty? Or how are we going to overcome uncertainty? Or how are you waiting for this uncertainty to pass? And that framing actually sets our brains up to frame it as something negative that we got to get through. And so I like to start every growth strategy conversation by defining it, right? The definition of uncertainty is a series of future events which may or may not occur. Whether or not those events are good or bad depends on what we're trying to do and how we're set up. So our job as leaders is that, figure out what we want to do as an organization and then set ourselves up to succeed regardless of the environment. And our role as leaders is constantly reframing because our team will fall back, right? Our natural inclination is to view the unknown as something that we need to address or overcome. We've got to constantly reframe that it's a series of future opportunities, which can be negative or positive depending on our goals as an organization.
What I've seen is that, and I've been reading about it, a crazy figure that I thought is like 6 out of 10 CEOs believe that uncertainty will be a defining characteristic of the next decade. And we see it in today's ecosystem, And what I saw is that on this research is that if you have an agile leadership, meaning that the people that are capable to make this decision-making adaptation are more likely to be on the top, on the performance of the industry. So if we put this in mind and that you've that work with a lot of high growth companies, what do you believe are the key steps that leaders need to take to make that switch in between uncertainty to work for them rather than against them?
Yeah, absolutely, Diana. Sometimes when you challenge CEOs, they'll say, well, Rebecca, I've never run a company in certain times, right? So, is this really something new? But what I'm hearing consistently is the level of uncertainty we're facing the past couple of years is a heightened level because we've got a combination of major tech uncertainty with the advent of AI and Gen AI, major geopolitical uncertainty, major economic uncertainty, and continual blurring of industry lines, right? So every aspect that's coming in on us for. But agility is key, but there's a caveat on that, is that a lot of times CEOs will say, well, Rebecca, maybe I'm not going to do strategy this year because I want to be more agile. So we have to define agility, right? The definition of agility is making great decisions quickly aligned with strategy. Being agile necessitates having a clear growth strategy because, making great decisions not aligned with strategy is actually called chaos, right? Everyone is moving very quickly, but we're not aligned actually taking the organization forward in our value creating path. So agility, making great decisions quickly, aligned with strategy. And I call it, Diana, aligned speed. That's your goal as an organization. You want to be making these fast decisions in alignment, But alignment without speed is just simply too slow to matter in today's competitive environment. And speed without alignment, as mentioned, is chaos. So you need this clear value creating growth strategy with absolute shared context across the organization so we can build this capability of aligned speed.
One of the things that I also believe is that uncertainty sometimes often leads us to innovation, out of the necessity, because things happen. And I don't know, for example, Airbnb, they were funded like 2008. It was chaos because it's like worst economic crisis for many. And they capitalized these trends and the things that were happening. People wanted to save money. And they created this huge platform. If I think it on my industry, the telecom industry, I can think about the case of Nokia. They were a global leader in the mobile phones, but as the smartphone market exploded, they actually fell behind in that market, but they took advantage of other things. They start coming into the Microsoft era, into the 5G technology, into other solutions. So examples, where uncertainty and then things that happen are like this. I believe that they're really good. So how can we tell the leaders that are watching us today, how do they can foster this environment, especially with their teams, in order that they encourage them to work together to make a better outcome?
Yeah. Love it, Diana. Like, uncertainty is a great time to grow, right? And I'm not saying that because I wrote a book on it. I'm saying that because the book is filled with dozens and hundreds of examples. There's so many reasons. But the number one reason why uncertainty is a great time to grow is it's a great time to learn. In uncertainty, your customers are never more honest about what they really need the most, right? Your suppliers and partners are never clear on what they need from you. Your employees are never more honest about what they need from their employer. Uncertainty is a great time to grow because it's a great time to learn. And if you look at the past previous downturns, we've always had this birth of these high growth companies, Uber, Airbnb, the tech companies before that. And what happens is every time there's a major new kind of burst on the scene of new tech innovation, that tech has always been there for a couple of years. The tech usually advances. What happens in this period of uncertainty is long-standing societal assumptions are challenged. We saw it in 2001, we saw it in 2009, we saw it in 2020. The tech for remote working was there. 2024 is just to challenge the societal assumption of how we did. The tech for ride sharing and home sharing was already there. The challenges coming out of the recession forced us to challenge those societal assumptions. And so you have this wonderful intersection of technology, which has been advancing, and then we finally have this moment because of the uncertainty that we're willing to challenge some of these societal assumptions. So lean in, right, to this. Learn more, because I'll share 4 words with you, Diana, that change everything. Learn faster, grow faster. It's that simple. Organizations that learn faster are the organizations that grow faster.
So if you have an opportunity to give these leaders that are watching us or listening today, what would be 3 top things that they need to do to learn faster and grow faster?
Absolutely. So one, let me give a very simple one first. I'm about practical things. When we're facing uncertainty or possible downturn, we tend to get very micro and focus on operational metrics. We treat our customers like transactional vehicles because cash collection is key. You've got to dig into learning. So add a weekly item to your standing weekly huddle. Not what did we do last week? What do we need to do this week? Add what did we learn last week? What do we need to learn this week? What's a critical assumption that we need to learn this week? Second, define what an experiment is at your company. A lot of times people aren't running experiments or trying things because we haven't defined what it is. And I don't know actually what I'm allowed to do. So say, hey, you are allowed to experiment at any time as long as it has these couple of characteristics. And then third, giving that clear value creating strategy. If I know what I'm trying to do, where I'm trying to go and my boundaries, I'm now going to learn and try and experiment within it. In uncertainty, we tend to micromanage, even we don't realize we're doing it. We get more focused on telling people what to do. That's not our job as leaders. Our job as leaders is say where we're going to go and the boundaries you've got to stay within. And that, switching from telling them what to do to telling them where we're going to go and their boundaries, will allow people to try and explore. So ask what do we need to learn, define an experiment, and give your team a clear finish line, but the boundaries they've got to stay within, then allow them to move and explore as they're running towards that finish line.
I really love this. I guess this is a jewel in order to get there. Yeah. So we have arrived to my favorite part of the podcast because this is where we're going to get like things into action. We want to know you a little bit better, and a way to do it is I'm going to ask you a set of questions. And if you can answer it with maybe one word or the first phrase that it comes to your mind, it would be fantastic.
Okay.
You ready?
All right. I'm ready.
Let's get it. All right. So what is your biggest leadership challenge?
The biggest leadership challenge is working with leaders who want help but are not willing to take feedback. So it's helping kind of overcome that challenge. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's for sure
something you've never faced before, right, Diana? Guys.
So I have to do a parenthesis in this question. What to do if you are that leader that want help but are not ready to take feedback? How to change that?
Yeah. You've got to lean in, right? Make sure that you know that you're there to help. Now, I found often with YPOers, honesty and bluntness is the best, right? But lean in, show you're there to help. And I've often found asking questions versus giving answers is the best way. So I just switched to asking questions and going back to our fundamental beliefs and assumptions.
That's a great advice. Thank you so much. Most rewarding leadership moment for you, Rebecca?
I just had one this week, Diana, is I love working with YPOers. I do it all around the world. And yesterday I was at a conference keynote and I had lunch with a key associate. And he started the lunch with my favorite line ever, which is, Rebecca, it's never been a better time to be at this company than today. Because the new strategy they'd worked on a year ago was finally coming into place. The leadership team was embracing the language. He was talking about ICPs and goals and all the words that we've done. And my favorite moment is when that next level of leaders is embracing it and running with it and feels empowered, and the growth was there as well.
What do you think is a key or essential quality in a crisis?
Honesty, transparency, integrity. You've got to be honest about what you don't know and what what you do know and what you don't know. You've got to be transparent about the situation, and integrity. Like you don't compromise your company's purpose or values regardless of how difficult the current time is.
What about one word for uncertainty shaping growth?
Set of opportunities.
What about your biggest leadership influence so far?
Personally, it's probably been just working with wonderful mentors from the business school to the wider community who are willing to lean in at an early time and provide some great feedback.
What is that key advice that you wish you had when you were 20 years old?
I'm lucky that I mostly took it, but just lean in and say yes, right? Sometimes the pathway that you think is the right sequential step is not the right one there. So when opportunities show up in front of you, just say yes.
What do you think that the future of work will be?
Diversified, challenging, but a set of new opportunities every day.
And one last one. What grounds you when you are in an uncertain time or in a time of crisis?
I am absolutely passionate about what I do. I get to work with the most motivated, ambitious teams all around the world every day, and working with them, helping them, and seeing them kind of grow through this uncertainty. That's what runs and fuels me.
I love this because this is great, juicy feedback. It has been, an easy way to view the unknown as something not necessarily to fear, but through your work, we see it more that can be reframed as a space for a possibility. Really, really thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
No, Diana, thank you so much for the great set of questions. I'm very motivated for the rest of the day now. Yes.
Yeah. And 3 takeaways that I'm taking from you is like add a weekly learning of what you actually learned last week. Experiment, but define the experiment. The third is like not micromanage, but set the destination and the finish line.
Exactly.
Those are my takeaways from you.
Wonderful. Yeah, that finish line and boundaries and let people run within them.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for sharing your incredible insight with us today. Navigating uncertainty has become such a defining challenge for leaders, but what we learned today is that the right mindset and strategy is going to make it better for us and to innovate. Thank you for your time, Rebecca. Thank you for watching this podcast with us today.
Thank you, Diana. It's my pleasure.
And to all of our listeners and viewers today, I encourage you to reflect on how you're approaching uncertainty in your own organizations. And if you're using it as a tool for transformation or letting you fall you back, which one it is. So thank you again. Thank you, Rebecca, again for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. And to our listeners, please tune in for the next YPO Leaders of Leader podcast. We'll see you next time where we continue to explore what strategies are here leading us the way for purpose and impact. See you soon.